Okay, part number 2. T-Max over at T-Max Design Studios 24, and of course, we're on our YouTube channel, Made by Hand, Led by Heart. Hey, after thinking about this, I had some time to upload the videos and stuff like that. Get them all set for premiere for tomorrow at 10 a.m. for the first one. I believe I can get this to part 2 at 11 o'clock tomorrow. So kind of beware of that. And I took some extra notes, and I wanted to go over a few things to really set the stage for, this episode and the reason why craft matters. And I took it the extra mile to really dig in to make my creations look more Mother Nature-like and more competitive-like, and just kind of step up the game plan, and so I went to a lot of work, watched a lot of YouTube channels, again, videos, and just enjoyed learning new things. The couple things that I learned throughout that year and throughout my, watching all the videos and stuff, is I learned more about coloring and pan pastels and all types of things that you can do to a flower to kind of make it stand out and make it look real, basically. And I wanted to show you a few things, and I just did this at my break, uploading the videos and stuff. But as you can see, it's just, this is what I learned, and I never used to use, let me try to get around the mic here, never used to use a wire for the leaf. Okay, as you can see, that's the leaf, and then I glue a wire right in between the middle. Now, I'm sure you're probably thinking, well, why? Well, it's two things. So, two things is it now, doing the wire, it looks like a vein of the leaf, and then you can see the other veins, and you can see a lot of crinkles, in the vein. Did curls, I always use a dowel or something like that to make the curls of the leaf, and then I used pan pastels to kind of brown up, to where it looks like the branch, and did some greens. You can see the green colors or stuff in there, but just to kind of mix it up and make that leaf stand out in the bouquet like it's Mother Nature, So I wanted to kind of show that piece there, and just I used to just do them plain, wow, plain Jane, but now it looks like chocolate ice cream and cake and chocolate chip cookies and banana cake, and stuff like that. Oh, how about a tenderloin steak with baked potatoes? So that's what this looks like, more than just the leaf. So again, just adding all those little tidbits to a leaf that make it stand out. Now on the flowers, I did the same thing. I wanted to dress up the flower to where it's going to stand out. You get a brown stem down there. You get your baby breath, on a nice little fern growing off of it, and then you got your little wisp, as my followers call it. And the wisp is these things here. They always made. They loved them. Don't get me wrong, but they said, "What is that thing?" I'm going to call it a wisp. That's what some of the ladies said out there. So I call it a wisp now. and so you can see this, little baby rose is ready for a class to be put in. But the roses are in this, and this is an Abby Kirsten SVG file, by the way. Her roses are just so easy and so fun to make, and I have a blast at making them. So, but as you can see, it's more Mother Nature-like instead of just blah. You can see the stem is a lot thicker than just a stem wire, and there's tricks that I do to that, but you'll have to join the classes to get my tricks, unfortunately. But so again, I just wanted to touch base again, is to make everything look better and make people. Oh gosh, I think I put this on notes. Well, I'll get to that in a minute, but you know, that's some of the things that I did to create my handcrafted creations a lot better. Then another thing I tried in this episode here or whatever, I tried chalk contour, and boy, that was because I wanted. Well, when I did some research on chalk couture, man, this was great. I mean, what a nice piece I could do, and it would add flavor to my designs. It'd give me wall decor stuff and just beautiful ideas that they had, and I went with the program. You know, I became one of their designers, and I think I was there for about 6 months. But after the 6 months, you know, I had to revert back to episode 1 on inventory management. I had so much inventory on chalk couture, and it wasn't cheap. It was pretty pricey, and it got expensive for me. And then also what happened is I started selling more floral bouquets, and I couldn't keep up with the chalk couture. So unfortunately, I had to back out of it, and for one person show, I just couldn't keep up with true inventory. So that's some of the things in business. Don't bite off more than you can chew. And that's a mistake that I did, and I learned by that mistake. Didn't cost, I mean, I sold all the product, don't get me wrong, and I sold it for, you know, at the beginning price, but just to get rid of it, my inventory and everything I did, you know, I sold it at cost and stuff. So I got rid of that inventory and just stuck with my unique niches were, you know, the crepe paper flowers and the cardstock flowers. So just wanted to mention that. The other thing too is I did some research, and I had a lot of Latino ladies customers, and some of the ladies actually told me, hey, do you have this color, and do you have this color, and do you have this color? And I said, no. And she says, you know what, I'll give you some good advice. These ladies in my world, in the Latin world, love these colors. So again, not knowing the culture and what they like, that's something I learned from a customer again. And it's like, gosh darn. So I had to kind of gain more knowledge of the industry, and not just the industry, but the different type of cultures out there. You know, the Hawaiians, you know, this is flower, the plumera. You know, I started building more and more of those, you know, because there was quite a few of Asians, you know, that were coming to some of the fairs and stuff. So again, I found that out, and so I started building more. I built the colors for the Latin ladies, and when it was a Latin fair, I am not kidding you, I sold the product. It didn't sit there, it sold. So just, you know, customers coming to you, and you build that relationship with the customers. And I did it with this one lady because actually I can mention her. She's a public figure. It's Sarah Reese out of Guadalupe, and she owns a couple a couple shops in Guadalupe and Phoenix and stuff. But you know, she kind of told me the Latin culture and stuff, and so I went with it. And here's what I wanted to mention just a little bit ago. I didn't just make crafts. I was committed. So when I say that, it's just what I was saying is I had to gain more knowledge, not just in the industry, but cultures and the events that I went to. So I always ask the events people, what type of clientele are you going to see? How many people? You know, all those questions. They're very important questions. So I had a cheat sheet in front of me, not for them to ask me questions, but I wanted to find out, you know, what I needed to build, and that's how I explained it to them. I said, look, you know, I want to make sure I have the right product out there, the right mix, the right count. So again, make yourself a cheat sheet, and don't have them, the events people, tell you what to do, but you ask them the questions and make sure that you know you build the right product, or you bring the right product. So kind of keep that in mind. Bouncing off just what I just said earlier too. It's and it's true. Behind every handmade piece is a story worth telling. And when I say that, I can go back to episode 1 about talking about my stepfather. When I built those Christmas houses, I knew how to build a house, so that's a story to tell in those Christmas houses, and a story of feelings and emotional feelings that came to me, and where I accepted him doing what he did to himself. I won't mention that because it brings up memories, but that's a story, and that's critical in anything that I do. Matter of fact, I don't know if you can see. No, I put it on. No, it's right on the floor here. But let me bring this up real quick. When I was building this design here, actually I found this cabinet. I found this in the garbage. And it was ugly. It was green and black, and it had 2 doors in the front and 2 doors down in the bottom. And I took those out and sanded it and worked on it. Put some emblems on it, which these are cardboard. It's stacked cardstock. I think there's 4 sheets of cardstock, but it looks like metal. Put metal there, and then I put my unique niche. The flowers, my miniature flowers with the pot. That there is a plastic shot glass. You take shots or whatever, but it's a plastic cup, and I painted it and. Up here, I painted it and put the flowers in there. But what brought what this reminded me of is my grandpa, because it's a grandfather's tablecloth, and I thought about my grandpa all the time, and it's just a hilarious guy, just full of knowledge, full of wealth, just a strict Catholic person, but just loved all his grandkids. I mean, we have a huge family, Catholic family, and he was just a great guy, great grandpa, I should say. So again, getting back to telling the story. This is a story that it told me. It reminded me of my grandpa. I also made some flower bouquets that reminded me of my grandma. And I put grandma's bouquet on it and stuff. So there's a lot of things that I create, and as I look around the room, I see a couple displays that the reason why I built them because they look good and it's going to tell a story. It's a cutting board and a mason jar. I've always loved mason jars, even not being what I do now. It's just mason jars. You put jams and jellies, you can put anything in them, and put that top on them, and they stay forever. So, another thing, I just kind of, I don't even have my glasses on. I don't even know how I'm reading this. Oh my gosh. Again, there's something powerful about knowing a piece was crafted with care, not just pushed through a machine. There's anything that I build, the main core piece, and I'm trying to look around, the main core piece is something like a vase or a bucket or a mason jar or something like that. That's the only thing I know that's pushed through a machine. But my craft, what I make, it's all handmade, and that's some of the things that I fall in love with, because I hear that from people. I hear that from some of my family members. I remember my Aunt Nancy buying one of my picture frames, the small ones. I just love that so much. And and even though that she's a family member, she's not saying that. She bought it. She paid cash for it. And she's just not saying it just because she loved it. And that's something that it hits me. And again, I take these things pretty emotional. I mean, I get emotional when people buy so much from me at a fair and stuff. It's like, God, I mean, I'm a guy and I'm not supposed to be making flowers, but guess what? I am. They call me Mr. Stewart, so Martha Stewart's husband. But lastly, I just want to touch base is you invest in time, energy, love into your work, and and it shows. People feel it, and that's just what I said about my aunt and stuff like that. People see that, and they just really feel like, wow, this guy cares about what he does, and I look around the room still. I don't have that much inventory in here either. I mean, it's sold at the county fair. I mean, and I'm gonna have to build quite a bit for the state fair, but all that is, for the classes that I'm gonna do. In ending this, just a last statement I want to kind of read off, and just going off my notes, and I keep everything professional. I type everything else, and I save all my work because it means a lot to me. I mean, if I put effort into writing everything down and putting it in on type and printing it off, and I care what I'm doing. It's just not scribbled or handwritten. So I want to read this to you. And so if you're watching this and you're just getting started, I want you to hear me. Keep going. And I made that decision. I'm going to keep going. I'm committed. Practice, study, try something new every day. It's okay to be a beginner, because I was a beginner. An expert always once was. And if you've been in the game a while, challenge yourself to level up. Guess what I did in year 2? I mean, on this episode, it's basically talking about my year 2. Is I stepped up my game to make my creations look outstanding. Learn that new technique. Oh yeah, just to learn that new technique. Ask new questions and stretch your skills. The work you do matters, not just to us, but to the people who invite our creations into their home, which is wow. I remember my mom asked me once, "Hey, can you make me a bouquet?" And she wanted, and she even ordered one of my wall decor items through. Before I started my print-on-demand store, I was sampling or testing my pictures on canvas, and some of those on my print-on-demand store are just out of this world, and that's something that's new, and I'll talk about later on. But that print-on-demand store is just amazing, because over the years I got 30,000 pictures, and what am I going to do with 30,000 pictures? Sit in the cloud. Well, now I'll take a look at the print-on-demand store, and you'll see what I'll do. So we'll talk more about that. But if this episode inspired you, just leave me a comment. Please leave me a comment. Good, bad, ugly, unknown. It's just that I need that. I need that to help me through this podcast that I just enjoy. I know I'm gonna just love this every Friday. I'm gonna just be right on there, because the first 5 episodes are gonna be premieres. And then after that, it's just going to be a regular show on Friday mornings at 10 o'clock. No live, no nothing, just enjoy watching. But I'm enjoying what I'm doing. I love going back and researching what I did, especially looking at all those pictures. And there's 190 pictures for you all to look at before you watch this video. And if you're watching it, look at those pictures. Because some of those designs, I'm shocked that I made them, created them, and there they are, and people bought them. So I've kept a few things that I built over the last 4 or 5 years, but then again I had to sell them because people wanted them. So I didn't want to sell them, but I did. Kept a few of them that are close to me. So those are always will be. But other than that, next week's show, I know I mentioned it in part 1. It's going to be a doozy. It's going to be fun. I love going to new places, and I love talking to people so much. And man, I tell you, the fun that I'll tell you right now, the fun I have at the Maricopa County Fair this past year, teaching the fairgoers, was just totally a blast. And like I say, I know this is a podcast. You'll probably hear this for the next 10 years, but I can say it 10 years from now too. It's just a lot of fun meeting people and really talking to them. But lessons from the fair, and then finding inspiration everywhere. And pretty much been to quite a few craft fairs and shows and stuff like that. Matter of fact, I remember I just seen this, looking at some research I was doing. I remember doing McAllister's subs are out there. It's in West Phoenix, but my daughter-in-law, she's the manager over there, and she wanted me to sell my crafts out there. So here I'm at a restaurant, outside, blazing hot. I was sweating, but we had a good day in sales. I mean, but I was in the front door of a restaurant by myself, and they had a free tea day, and that draws people in. A lot of free tea, because I guess that McAllister's tea is just out of this world. But again, a restaurant. What am I doing at a restaurant? But boy, I had fun that day. My mom came out there that day. She helped me set up and stuff, and just talk about stuff. So, other than that, I do appreciate it all. Just keep the numbers coming in. Subscribe, like, and share if you can to get me up there. And we'll see you next week. Again, I have a lot of fun doing this. By the way, new shirts. So I know they're just t-shirts, but hey, at least I get the name on there so people can see it and read it in front of them. But that's important to me, is being dressed nice new haircut. It's not my eyes like it was last week on the first episode. I just ran out of time, last week. Didn't have time to get anything done except for the first podcast. I mean, I think I spent 24 or 26 hours on it. This week was pretty easy because I got a system now on how I'm doing it. So I'm talking too much. Have a great day. I appreciate it. Happy 4th of July. Make sure you stay safe tonight. Out blowing up the world and fireworks and stuff. But have a blast and be safe. All right. Thanks again, y'all. Bye-bye.